Good evening. I'd like to call the City of Mount Vernon City Council meeting for October 12, 2022 to order. The time is now 7 p.m. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item C is a roll call of council members. I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilmember Beaton?
Here.
Councilmember Brocksmith?
Here.
Councilmember Correas?
Is excused this evening?
Councilmember Hudson?
Here.
Councilmember Holst?
Here.
Councilmember Molinar?
Here.
Councilmember Morales?
Here.
Thank you very much. Under community comments is item 1, a review of emails from the public, and I'll ask Peter Donovan if there were any emails sent into community comments at mountvernon.gov.
There were 2 emails, Mayor, thank you, and
Yes.
good evening, Council. Your first of the 2 emails was sent to Council from Cody Hart, and it reads, below you will find links to 2 video articles I recently issued that include the interviews with Skagit County election officials and Skagit County Sheriff's Office confirming violation of election law by the election office, and that Sheriff McDermott, along with prosecuting attorney Wyrick, have taken the position that Skagit County will no longer be enforcing election laws in Skagit County. There are a couple of web links, and then he goes on to say, I am offering to discuss the situation at an upcoming council meeting and would appreciate it if your agency would contact me and let me know if you would like me to go over what my independent reporting has found and any questions you might have in either a public or private setting. Thanks again for your time and consideration. The next email to council was from Stacy Anderson. Good afternoon. I am looking forward to the new Library Commons project and all of the potential positive impacts that it will have on our community. However, I need to comment on the early stage, particularly the past few days when the removal of trees around the perimeter of the project began. My first question is whether the option to relocate the trees to other neighborhoods within the community was considered. There are several areas within Skagit County that would benefit from the addition of shade trees, for example, at a bus stop. Assuming that it was considered and deemed impossible to do, my next question is, why were the trees removed in such a destructive way? Couldn't they have been cut down and the wood shaved and recycled into something to be used in the new building? Benches or tables, frames for local photos? Watching the heavy machinery strike down the trees was disappointing. Certainly it is not a respectful way to treat them. Thank you for your time, Stacy Anderson, Mount Vernon residents. That's all of the community comments tonight.
All right, thank you. And I will point out that people who write in for community comments, the council or the mayor don't necessarily agree with any opinions or things that were stated. So I'll just point that out. Item 2 is public comment. Is there anyone here in the audience that would like to speak? You're welcome to step to the podium at this time. And seeing none, we'll move along. Under item 3 are consent agendas. We have items A, B, C, and D.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, motion by Melissa, second by Mark. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Under committee reports tonight, item 1 is our Public Works and Library Committee, and that's Councilmember.
No, because we're
Oh,
continuing it.
that's right. We will continue that since we're going to continue our committee meeting after this, so that will be on our next council meeting. So we'll move on to Public Safety Committee report, and Councilmember Beaton is going to pinch hit for Councilmember Holst.
Absolutely, Mayor. Thank you very much. So we met last Wednesday evening, and first we heard from our fire chief, Brian Bryce, who presented a Fire Station 3 project update along with Michael Serrano from KBA. And KBA is the project construction company for our fire remodel projects, who also happens to live in that neighborhood. So after we saw some photos of the demolition, as with projects that size, the city was prepared for potentially some issues that might be discovered, and there were some issues. The existing roof trusses are not bearing directly on the metal hangers. In fact, they are there were shims and plywood to fill the gaps. The shear wall is not aligned. If you're wondering what a shear wall is, that is the wall that is designed to resist forces such as the wind and seismic activity. So that's pretty significant. The electrical power is not in the location shown in the plans. There's a low spot in the drain pipe. They discovered water damage to the plywood and the roof sheathing and trusses, and there's cracks in the concrete. So we were presented with 3 potential options. The first is we could just continue with our current plans, ignore them, and move on. The second one was demo the remaining ceiling, which includes a cost of $320,000. It would eliminate further water damage and address all of the crack in the foundation. And then there's an estimate of an additional $20,000 to $30,000 to fix the foundation crack. Or 3, we could demo the remaining structure to the tune of $1.5 million, which would address and correct all the issues, any issues not yet found. A new building, of course, would be built to modern standards and would reduce long-term concerns and costs. The recommendation by staff was to move forward with option 2, and this was after discussion. Council agreed. Station 2 we may need to take a look at some additional fund balance to complete that project because we don't know. Obviously, it's the same construction company, and so we're most likely there's concerns with Fire Station 2 as well. Moving on, Chief Kamek gave a 2023 legislative update. He talked about public policy changes involving the impacts of the Blake decision, police pursuits, vacancy and retention challenges, and attorneys for juvenile is now a requirement before they can actually interview a juvenile. There was a roundtable heard on 9/15 with chiefs and sheriffs and local legislatures, which was very well received, and the representatives were engaged in the discussion. There's another planning session in December, and then additionally there was a Zoom meeting held with Representative Susan Delbene. The Skagit County First Responder Foundation. So Sheriff McDermott spearheaded a nonprofit work group to honor and recognize first responders in the county. And on October 28th, that is National First Responders Day. The Skagit County Commissioners will be announcing a proclamation at their office on, I think it's Monday the 24th at 11 a.m. So if you cannot make it, please tune in via Zoom. The SMART team, and our SMART team is the Skagit Multi-Agency Response Team, and they respond when there is an officer-involved investigation that needs to occur. And so the State Auditor's Office has a review process. The city volunteered. We've had 2 investigations to be audited, and they were meeting last week, and I'm sure we will be hearing an update soon on that. Then we heard from our finance director, Doug Valesky. He conducted council with a little bit of OpenGov training, and that's the new budget software that the city is using, and it's pretty cool. Actually, I picked right up on it, so we know it's pretty cool. Mayor Boudreau then presented council and discussed alternates on the Library Commons project. So the base bid in our project was $37 million, and that was by LIDIG. Shelving is included, but the labor and installation is not. She recommended that we include, and I think we're going to hear this a little bit later on in our council meeting, she recommended that we include the freezer refrigerator add-on and concrete paving in the alley for a total sum of $119,000. Council agreed. Our library director, Isaac Huffman, wrote a $500,000 grant. It's a National Endowment for the Humanities Capital Challenge, which requires some matching funds, potentially up to $1.5 million. And additionally, a commerce grant was applied for as well. And then under the good of the order, Chief Kamek relayed a positive feel-good story about a family who had been carjacked recently in the city, and their vehicle was destroyed. A different family wanted to donate a car to our iOS program, which is the Integrated Outreach Services within the police department. But at the time, there wasn't a need for it. So through conversations and connections, it was realized that this family that had been carjacked was still in need of a vehicle. And so that vehicle was donated to that family. So that's pretty cool. And then Councilmember Gary Molinar passed along a compliment from a citizen who lives in the Summer Sun area. That citizen was very impressed by our police department, by the professionalism in handling of a situation by police during an incident in that neighborhood. So with that, we adjourned at 7:43 p.m.
Thank you very much. Item B tonight is council member comments. Any council member comments tonight? Okay, moving on to mayor's report. I just wanted to show a view of a camera angle for the Mount Vernon Library construction camera. And we're trying to get this so that it will have a live feed via our city website. So at any time, people can click on and just see what's happening. So more to come on that, but we're working through the technical challenges of doing that, and we'll let you know when you can pull that up and see what's happening. Also, just some construction updates. These, of course, are subject to changing depending on situations, but right now we're doing site prep that you'll see if you're in our downtown area, pulling up concrete, doing grading, getting it ready to then start geopier installation, and that should be at the end of October and potentially through the end of the year. I did hear today that it might go quicker, but we'll just have to see. Then also we're doing utility relocation, so there's electric PSE connections, there's some telecommunications connections, all that has to be relocated so that it's not interrupted during construction, so that'll be happening. Right now, as if you've been downtown, there's a 3rd Street closure, and that's really to help our construction company on a very tight site be safe and have room to maneuver or work through that. Also, it just helps construction flow quicker, so it's almost like a little inconvenience now means a shorter time of inconvenience and getting things going. Then we would have some intermittent closures of 2nd Street, and that's really due to some of the utility relocations, at least this fall, and then just depending on where we are during construction, we'll just have some disruption. But in the end, we'll all forget about the inconvenience and we'll be so excited to have the project. If you want to keep in touch, you can click on our website. If you go to the very bottom or to the Notify Me quick link, you can sign up for monthly construction news. You can also sign up for the mayor's e-newsletter that's monthly. We're trying to push out as much information as possible. We also have on our YouTube channel a quick around town, great video that's put together monthly. So there's ways to keep in touch. Just click onto our website and you'll find ways to keep all the information that you would want going on. So, great, that's it for mayor's report. Next item is committee agenda requests. Any committee agenda requests today? All right, moving on, there is no unfinished business. We have a short agenda under new business tonight. Item A is the approval of an agreement with Kitsap County, and Chris Phillips, our Public Works Director, is here. Chris?
Hi, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. City staff recommends City Council authorize the mayor to enter into an agreement with Kitsap County for cooperative contracting. Background here is that Chapter 3934 of RCW allows for parties to establish a cooperative governmental purchasing agreement whereby one party may use the other party's competitively awarded contracts when it's consistent with those awards and applicable law and when it is in their individual interest. Cooperative contracting provides a more efficient and effective way of procurement practices that saves time when utilizing city and/or state funding. The public procurement process is complex, and conducting a comprehensive solicitation requires staff resources that may already be at capacity. Therefore, we reduce costs, connect agencies with top suppliers, and delivers ongoing value to our residents. When federal funding is involved, cooperative purchasing agreements can still be utilized. However, the formal RFP process must be adhered to ensure competitive bidding process considerations are met. Then the city can pursue the advantage of cooperative purchasing at that time. City staff recommends City Council authorize the mayor to enter into the agreement. I would just ask you to delete the portion where it says with Mr. Moore. It is the agreement with Kitsap County. Thank you.
All right, any questions for Chris on this?
I'd move the approval of the interlocal agreement with Kitsap County.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. Motion by Mark and a second by Juan. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Excuse me. Item B tonight is the approval of an agreement with Gunnarsson Consulting. And this is Blaine Chesterfield, our engineering manager, is here for this item. Blaine.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. Staff requests that City Council authorize the mayor to approve the professional services agreement with Gunnarsson Consulting for services related to leases, agreements, requested modifications, and negotiations of cellular communication towers. The total cost of this agreement is $15,000 annually. The city has 4 different sites with 6 towers on it total, and there's 11 lease agreements that are managed by the city. Work performed under these agreements will be funded as part of the facility's budget and or paid for by the cellular companies. And what I mean by that is that when it's an existing site where we are doing something that will come out of the facility's budget, but if the cellular companies come in and make a special request like a generator up at Little Mountain, then they are gonna have to pay for the lease, for our consultant to do that lease agreement, not us. So, and that's written into our contracts that way. That's something that Kevin recommended and we've included in our contracts now, so. Gunnarsson Consultant has worked for the city for several years. They've done a really good job for us. The city will continue to need cellular services, communication tower expertise to manage our various sites and agreements. So staff recommends approval of the proposed agreement with Gunnarsson.
All right, questions for Blaine on this?
I make a motion. Go ahead, Mary.
I'd recommend that we approve the proposed professional service agreement with Gunnarsson Consulting.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, motion by Gary and a second by Gary. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Blaine.
you.
And item C tonight is the approval of an agreement amendment with Lighted Construction. Chris Phillips, our Public Works Director, is here for this item.
Hi, good evening, Mayor, Council again. City staff recommends City Council authorize the mayor to enter into an agreement with Lighted Construction Incorporated for the following Mount Vernon Library Common bid alternatives, and they include the alley concrete and the commercial kitchen walk-in freezer. Mayor Boudreau briefed City Council on October 5th, and Councilmember Beaton reviewed those minutes this evening. On the following bid alternatives, Council agreed with the mayor's bid alternative recommendations. The cost of these alternatives is $119,550. City staff recommends City Council authorize the mayor to amend the original Mount Vernon Library Commons agreement with Lighted Construction Incorporated to include the bid alternatives as discussed.
Any questions for Chris on this item? All right. I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
All right, motion by Mark and a second by Juan. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. That concludes our regularly scheduled items on our agenda. At this time, I'd like to call for an executive session to discuss with legal counsel regarding agency enforcement actions, litigation, or potential litigation to which the city, the governing body, or a member acting in official capacity is or is likely to become a party when public knowledge regarding the discussion will likely result in an adverse legal or financial consequence to the city pursuant to RCW 4230, 110.
Subsection 1I.
1I, subsection 1I. Thank you, Kevin. Did I
You nailed it.
call the right thing?
Perfect.
All right. So this will be about 15 minutes from now. So the time is 7:20, and no final action is expected to take following the executive session, which will end at 7:35. With that, we'll be adjourned into executive session.